This is King Ring Boxing, bringing you your boxing news when you want it and when you most certainly need it. Booyah! What's up, fans? This is King Ring Boxing. It is 9 a.m. and I'm going to be just saying a little bit what I think about the Adrian the Problem Broner and John Molina's fight March 7th, next Saturday. Adrian Broner fought Carlos Molina. I believe that was his last fight, if I'm correct. You know, you have Adrian the Problem Broner, who's 29-1-22. His only loss came to the Argentino slugger Marcos Maidana. And you have John Molina, you know, the powerful slugger who likes to slug one out, as he did against Lucas Matisse. Was knocked down 3 times until the ref finally waived the fight. And it was a great fight. I think it was also named Fight of the Year. But you have 29-1-22 versus 27-5-2. Adrian Broner with 22 knockouts. And in my opinion, I feel like Adrian Broner's jab and his quickness will give John Molina some problems. John Molina is a great pressure fighter. He's really heavy-handed, just like Marcos Maidana. And if Adrian Broner isn't on his A game, just like against Marcos Maidana, and has that cockiness and that playfulness that he can't get caught just as well as he did against Marcos Maidana. And this is his first fight at this is his second fight at 147, coming up from 135, where he usually fights at. But he's been at 140, you know, since his loss against Marcos Maidana. Has been fighting. Had some great wins over Emmanuel Taylor, Carlos Molina. And I think there's a few more that I'm not going to get into. There's also going to be some great undercards at this bout, but we'll get into that in a different video sometime later. Adrian Broner, though, he's a great fighter, you know. Besides his, you know, his mouth and his flashiness, I feel like you have to love him as a fighter. Because as a fighter, he goes out there and he puts on a show and he does what we want to see. I'm not a big Adrian Broner fan. I'm not a John Molina fan, but I feel like Adrian Broner can cause John Molina a lot of problems, as well as John Molina can cause Adrian Broner a lot of problems, you know. John Molina is very heavy-handed. He gets underestimated a lot when it comes to fighting, you know, when it comes to his boxing. I feel like John Molina has a great jab and sets up some great body punches. But, you know, I feel like later on in the fight, I feel like it's going to be a stoppage, a 9th or 10th round stoppage, Adrian Broner, because he has that stopping power that we've seen against, you know, people like Emmanuel Taylor, when he had that knockdown in the early rounds. And, you know, we've seen him put on some big punches against Paulie Malignaggi and Carlos Molina. And the list goes on with some big punches. Marcos Maidana rocked him in the late rounds. You know, even when Adrian was stunned, he was making a little comeback. And I feel like if there would have been a few more rounds, maybe he could have pulled off the fight. But, you know, I feel like Adrian Broner is going to take this one away because of his boxing skills. You know, when it comes to he mimics Floyd in his defense. His defense isn't as great as Floyd's, but his defense is there. You know, it's there and it does what it has to do in order to allow him to move in. And he sets up great body punches, something a lot of boxers do not do. Adrian Broner sets up great body punches. If you look and watch some of his tape, when he starts his combination, most of the first 3 or 4 punches of his combination of body shots, he's ba 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 back to the body, you know, and that's what allows him to open up opponents so well, because when he tags him down low, you know, he's banging low, body, they're down here, and he throws that famous left uppercut that we see in the straight right. It's good night. So I feel like Adrian Broner will pull this off. If it isn't a knockout, I feel like he will take it to the scorecards and pull away the victory. He's learned from his mistakes against Marcos Maidana. You know, he had some trouble in some rounds against Emmanuel Taylor, who's also a pressure fighter. And you can't overlook anything when it comes to John Molina. But I feel like it's going to be a great fight, and it's going to be on NBC Sports. So tune in March 7th to see it. And yeah.